I told my family my flight landed at 3:00 p.m. after burying my husband overseas. My brother said, "We're busy, try Uber." But when they saw me on the evening news, flanked by Marines, they finally understood the cost of their silence. I sent the message right after takeoff. Group chat, no dramatic punctuation, no desperate emojis, just flight lands at 3 p.m. Can someone pick me up? I just buried my husband. Military funeral overseas, folded flag, 21 guns, a casket that felt heavier than anything I've ever carried, though I wasn't the one lifting it. We'd been married 7 years, most of those spent apart. Deployments don't care about anniversaries, but love doesn't keep receipts, so I didn't ask for much, just a ride home. The reply came before we even reached cruising altitude. My brother, "We're busy, try Uber." Then 2 minutes later, my mom, "Why didn't you plan better?" No, "How was the funeral?" No, "We're so sorry." No, "We're proud of him." Just that, cold, fast, clean. I sat by the window, plane lifting above the clouds, and stared into the kind of silence that doesn't come from grief. It comes from realization. You think family holds you, but sometimes they hold the knife. So, I typed one sentence back. No worries. That was it. No fight, no guilt trip, just silence. When we landed, I didn't cry, didn't panic. I pulled my coat tight, walked past the baggage carousel, past the other passengers hugging their people, and stepped into a black SUV already waiting by the curb. Because here's the thing, while they were busy, while they were judging, they didn't know who else had flown back with me, or what I brought with me from the base, or who was waiting behind the headlines. That night, I didn't send a follow-up message, didn't post a single word. But when the 9 o'clock news started, when their phones lit up with live coverage, I know they saw it. I know they dropped their forks. I know my mother's wine glass hit the tile, and I know one thing for sure, they'll never forget what I did next. The clip ran less than 60 seconds, but that's all it took. Evening news, middle of the broadcast, right after the weather, right before sports. The anchor spoke with that trained calm, the kind that delivers tragedies and triumphs in the same breath. Today, a widow returned home from her husband's overseas military burial, alone, but not unnoticed. Then came the footage. Black SUV, airport curb, me stepping out, still in black, folded triangle held against my chest, and behind me, 3 uniformed Marines, 2 women, 1 man, all in full dress. They didn't just escort me, they stood behind me, shoulders squared, backs straight, like shields. The camera zoomed in just enough to capture the moment I turned and handed something to one of them, a small box, white ribbon. The reporter continued. In an unexpected twist, the widow was met not by family, but by her husband's former unit, who arranged a military-led tribute and personal escort. She declined interviews, but left behind one handwritten note for the press. Then the screen filled with it. My handwriting, my words, clear, steady. If you ever find yourself standing alone at the edge of grief, don't look for people who left you there. Look for the ones who show up anyway. RM. They didn't say my full name, but they didn't have to. Everyone in that group chat knew exactly what they were watching. The camera panned out. Final shot. Me walking away between 2 Marines, head high, back straight, into the black SUV. No tears, no interview, no begging for sympathy, just truth, dignified. Broadcast on every major channel and in living rooms across the city, in my mother's kitchen, in my brother's condo. Phones were dropped, forks clattered, silence filled the spaces they thought were safe. They had sent a message, and now so had I. The group chat stayed silent for 24 hours. No reactions, no apologies, not even, "I just saw the news." But silence tells its own story, and theirs was starting to unravel. My sister-in-law messaged privately, "Was that you on Channel 5? I didn't answer. She didn't ask again, but word was spreading. My brother's wife posted their address on a grief page. We're the family from the news. Flowers arrived, cards, money, all redirected to their doorstep. She posted thank you photos, my brother looking somber. Then someone sent a small envelope, no return address. My brother opened it. Inside was a single photo, and when he saw what it showed, he called me for the first time since the airport, voice shaking. "We need to talk. Now. Don't hang up." In the background, I heard my mother. "Don't tell her anything." Then a sound like the phone hitting the floor. I picked up on the 3rd ring. Let him sweat a little first, you know? When I finally answered, his breathing was all wrong. Like he'd just sprinted up 5 flights of stairs, or realized he'd accidentally sent a text to the wrong person. The kind that ruins your whole life. "What's in the photo?" I asked. Kept my voice steady, calm. He didn't answer right away. I could hear shuffling in the background, a door closing, my mother's voice getting distant but still sharp enough to cut through walls. "Don't you dare tell her. Where did you even get this?" he said finally. His voice cracked on the last word. "Answer my question first, Jason." More silence. The kind that stretches out so long you start hearing your own heartbeat in your ears. Then, okay, look, it's just a photo from when Mom and I went to the bank a while back. Ancient history. It doesn't mean anything. Seriously, why do you even have it?" I sat down on my couch, the one my husband and I had bought together at some ridiculously overpriced furniture store, because he insisted we needed something that would last at least 20 years. "Built to outlive us," he'd said, laughing. Turns out he was right about the couch, wrong about the people. "It's from his personal effects," I said slowly, letting each word land. "He mailed it to himself before deploying, put it in an envelope with specific instructions that if something happened to him, it needed to get sent back with his things. So yeah, I'd say he thought it was pretty important. Now tell me, why were you and Mom at the bank? And why does it look like you're in the middle of a full-blown argument with someone across a desk?" The line went so quiet, I actually pulled the phone away from my ear to check if the call had dropped. Then I heard him swallow, hard, We weren't arguing. Look, we were just clarifying some account details. Standard stuff, that's all. You're reading way too much into a random photo. Then why are you calling me like someone just set your car on fire? Because he stopped. I heard him take a breath. Start again. Because you're trying to start something that doesn't need to be started. You just lost your husband, Rebecca. You're emotional. You're not thinking straight. Don't. I cut him off. Don't you dare tell me I'm emotional like that changes anything. I buried my husband 4 days ago. Flew home by myself because my family was too busy to drive 15 minutes to the airport. And now you're gaslighting me over a photo you didn't even know existed until 5 minutes ago. So try again, Jason. And this time, don't lie to me. Look, I really don't have time for this right now. You had time to tell me to take an Uber. That landed. I could hear it in the way his breath just stopped. Complete silence. That's not fair, he said finally. Quiet, almost a whisper. Fair? I stood up, started pacing. You want to talk about what's fair? My husband is dead, Jason. He's gone. And when I needed you, when I needed anyone, you sent me 3 words and went back to whatever was so important that day. So no, we're way past fair. Now tell me the truth. Why were you at that bank with Mom? And what does it have to do with Dad's veteran fund? I told you we were just... Stop lying. My voice didn't rise. It went flat. That specific kind of flat that makes people nervous because it means you're done playing games. The photo shows you pointing at paperwork. Mom's got her arms crossed doing that thing she does when she's defensive. The bank employee looks like he'd rather be literally anywhere else on earth. So what were you arguing about? Jason made a sound, not quite a word, just this strangled noise like someone had grabbed his throat mid-sentence. Then he hung up. I stared at my phone, watched his name disappear from the screen. The call duration, 4 minutes, 37 seconds. And in that moment, I knew for sure that whatever was in that photo was so much worse than I'd thought. I didn't have to wait long for confirmation. My mother called exactly 6 minutes later. I know because I watched the clock, counted the seconds, wondered how long it would take her to work up the nerve. We need to talk, she said when I answered. No greeting, no, how are you doing? No, we should have been there for you. Just that. I'm listening, not over the phone. You need to come to the house, right now. I laughed. Couldn't help it. No. Excuse me? I said no, Mom. You want to talk to me? We talk now, on the phone, or we don't talk at all. Your choice. I heard her breathing change. That specific thing she does when she's trying to decide whether to go with anger or desperation. I've known that sound my whole life. Desperation won. Your husband, she said slowly, choosing every word like she was walking through a minefield, found some irregularities in the fund before he left for deployment. We were in the process of fixing them. We didn't want to worry you while he was overseas dealing with everything else. My stomach dropped. Not because I was surprised, because I wasn't. Because some part of me had known, maybe from the second I saw that text message at the airport, that something was deeply wrong. What kind of irregularities? I kept my voice level. Just bookkeeping errors. You know how it is. Numbers that didn't add up quite right in the system. We were working with the accountant to sort everything out. It honestly wasn't that big of a deal, Rebecca. We had it under control. If it wasn't a big deal, why didn't you tell me? Because you had enough to worry about. Her voice cracked. Your husband was deployed in a combat zone. You were barely sleeping, barely eating. We could all see it. We didn't want to add to your stress over some boring accounting stuff that we were already handling. I closed my eyes, counted to 5 in my head, opened them again. The room looked exactly the same but felt completely different. You weren't worried about my stress at the airport either, I said quietly. So cut the act and tell me the truth. What did you steal? The silence that followed was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. It stretched out for so long I could hear my neighbor's TV through the wall, some game show where people were laughing. How dare you, she whispered finally. How dare you accuse me of— How much, Mom? How much did you take? I am not having this conversation with you when you're acting like this. Then I'll have it with everyone who ever donated to Dad's fund instead. Every single person who trusted you with their money. I'll send them copies of everything I found and let them decide what happened. Your choice. She hung up on me too. I stood there in my living room, phone still pressed to my ear even though the line was dead, and for the first time since the funeral, I felt something other than numb. I felt purpose, direction, like I'd been wandering in fog, and suddenly the sun burned through and I could see exactly where I needed to go. I walked into my bedroom and pulled out the cardboard box they'd sent me from the base. Personal effects, that's what they call it when they send you back the pieces of someone's life. Like effects somehow makes it less brutal. Inside, his laptop, his watch, his wedding ring that he'd stopped wearing on missions because it could catch on equipment, a notebook he'd kept, some photos, letters I'd written him that he'd saved and apparently read multiple times based on how worn the creases were. I opened the laptop. Took me 3 tries to remember the password because my hands were shaking. But when I got it right, the screen lit up like it had just been waiting for me to find it. His desktop was organized the way he organized everything in his life. Color-coded folders, everything labeled, nothing out of place. Work, personal, deployment photos, us, bills, projects, and one folder, buried at the bottom corner where you wouldn't see it unless you were looking, labeled emergency only. I clicked it, password protected. I tried our anniversary, wrong. Tried his birthday, wrong. Tried the day we met at that terrible college party where someone had spiked the punch with what I'm pretty sure was actual gasoline, wrong. Then I tried mine. My birthday, May 23rd. The folder opened. Inside were spreadsheets, dozens of them, all dated and cross-referenced. And right there at the top, a text file titled, "Read this first." I double-clicked it. It opened to a single paragraph in his words, his voice, like he was sitting right next to me. "If you're reading this, I didn't come home. I'm sorry. I wanted to handle this before you had to see any of it, but if you're here, that means I ran out of time. Don't let them bury this with me. You deserve to know the truth, and so does everyone who trusted your dad's legacy. I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from this." My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the laptop. I had to set it down on the bed, take a breath, wipe my eyes even though I told myself I wasn't going to cry over this. Then I opened the first spreadsheet. It was a complete record of every single deposit and withdrawal from my father's veteran fund going back 3.5 years. My dad had started the fund before he died. Stage 4 lung cancer, 15 months from diagnosis to funeral. He'd wanted to create something that would help other vets and their families, especially the ones who fell through the cracks of the VA system. After he passed, my mother took over as director. My brother helped her manage it. I scrolled through the entries. At first, everything looked completely normal. Donations coming in from individuals, organizations, fundraisers, grants going out to families in need, operating expenses for the website, the accountant, basic overhead. Then I saw it. A withdrawal, $15,000, marked as administrative costs. Date, June 2022. Same month my mother redid her entire kitchen. I remembered because she'd posted about 40 photos on Facebook showing off the new cabinets. Another withdrawal, $22,000. Marked program development. Date, September 2022. Same month my brother bought his boat. That stupid fishing boat he'd wanted forever. Posted pictures of himself on the water every weekend with the caption, "Finally living the dream." Another, $18,000. February 2023. My mother's emergency roof repair that somehow included a whole new master bathroom. And another, and another, and another. I opened the next spreadsheet. This one had notes in the margins. My husband's notes, written in that shorthand way he wrote everything. Total discrepancy, $140,000 over 37 months. Pattern matches Jay's boat purchase, $47K including trailer, insurance, marina fees, and L's home renovations. Kitchen $31K, bathroom $24K, roof $18K, Miskeen $20K. Confronted both on April 3rd. They admitted to borrowing funds, said family emergency after medical bills, promised full repayment by my return, made them sign written agreement, see scanned doc, told them I wouldn't tell R while deployed, didn't want her to worry or have to choose between me and her family, gave them one chance, only one. J and L, Jason and Linda, my brother and my mother, R, me, Rebecca. I clicked on the scanned document he'd mentioned. It opened to a photo of a handwritten note on lined paper, dated April 3rd, 2024. My mother's handwriting. We acknowledge that we borrowed $140,000 from the Morrison Veteran Relief Fund between June 2022 and March 2024 for personal expenses during a financial crisis. We will repay the full amount by December 2024 when Andrew returns from deployment. We understand this was wrong and will not access the fund again. Linda Morrison, Jason Morrison. Both their signatures at the bottom. I sat back against my headboard, laptop balanced on my knees, and felt something in my chest crack open. Not grief this time, something sharper, cleaner. He'd known, he'd found out, confronted them, given them a chance to make it right. And they'd signed a confession, promised to fix it, sworn they'd have the money ready when he got home, and then he died. And they'd let me fly home alone, told me to take an Uber, avoided me completely because they knew. They knew that the moment they saw me face to face, they'd have to tell me, or lie. And lying in person is harder than lying in a text message. I grabbed my phone and called my mother back. She answered on the first ring. "Rebecca, listen. I found his records," I said. My voice came out steady, calm, almost pleasant. "He tracked every dollar you took, every single one, $140,000. I know what you did. I know when you did it. And I have your signed confession saying you'd pay it back." Her breathing changed. I could hear it through the phone, fast and shallow like someone who just realized they were standing on the edge of a cliff. "He didn't understand how these things work," she said finally. Her words came out rushed, tripping over each other. "The fund has complex financial structures. There are expenses and overhead and things that don't always show up the way you'd expect in simple bookkeeping. He was looking at raw numbers without context." "Then give me context," I said. "You've got 24 hours to come clean about exactly where that money went and why you thought Dad's veteran fund was your personal ATM. Or I forward every spreadsheet, every note, and that signed confession to everyone who ever donated. Every name, every email, every address in the fund database. I'll let them decide how complicated it really was." "You wouldn't do that. Rebecca, you wouldn't." "Try me, Mom. You've got 24 hours. I hung up before she could answer. My hands had stopped shaking. I felt clear, focused, like I'd been walking around in a dream for the past week and had finally woken up. I spent the next 2 hours going through every single file my husband had saved. Bank statements going back 3 years. Screenshots of text conversations with my mother and brother. Emails where they begged him not to tell me. Promised they were going to fix everything. Swore it was just temporary. Messages from my mother. "Please don't tell Rebecca while you're deployed. She doesn't need this stress. We'll have everything sorted by the time you're home." Messages from my brother. "I know we messed up. We're working on it. Just give us until December." December. He died in February. I made copies of everything. Saved it all to 2 different flash drives. Uploaded it to 3 separate cloud storage accounts. Emailed copies to myself at 2 different email addresses. I wasn't taking any chances that this evidence would disappear. Then I sat on my couch and waited. Didn't have to wait long. Around 9:30 p.m., someone started pounding on my apartment door. Not knocking. Pounding. The kind of aggressive hammering that makes your neighbors peek through their peepholes. I looked through mine. My brother. Face red. Jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping. I opened the door but left the chain lock on. The door opened about 4 inches. What do you want, Jason? Let me in. Right now. No. Rebecca, I swear to God, if you don't open this door, you'll what? I leaned against the doorframe. You'll yell at me? Threaten me? Please do. My neighbor 2 doors down is a sheriff's deputy. He's home tonight. I'm sure he'd love to hear whatever you're about to say. Jason's face twisted into something ugly. You don't know what you're doing. You're about to destroy Dad's entire legacy over a misunderstanding. This is just basic bookkeeping that you don't understand because you've never managed anything like this. You're going to ruin everything he built because you're too stubborn to listen. I understand theft, I said. That's actually pretty simple math. Money goes into fund. You take money out of fund for a boat. That's theft. It's not theft. Jesus Christ, Rebecca. We were going to pay it back. We had a plan. Had? Past tense? So what changed? He opened his mouth, closed it. His face went from red to pale in about 2 seconds. I pulled out my phone and opened the spreadsheet, turned it toward the door gap so he could see. $47,000, withdrawn over 6 months. Same exact time period when you bought that boat, Jason. The fund received a major donation from the Veterans of Foreign Wars in August. $56,000. And 2 weeks later, you've got a boat. Want to explain how that's not theft? He stared at the screen. His mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. You can't prove anything, he said finally, but his voice had lost all its anger. Now he just sounded desperate. Then why are you here? If I can't prove anything, why are you standing outside my door at 9:30 at night looking like you're about to have a stroke? He didn't answer, just turned and walked away. His footsteps were heavy on the stairs, and I heard him slam the building door so hard the whole frame shook. I closed my door, locked it, put the chain back on, and I smiled. About an hour later, I saw headlights sweep across my living room window. I got up and looked out. My mother's car pulling into the parking lot, moving slow like she was approaching a funeral. She just sat there in the driver's seat for a full 5 minutes. I watched her through the window. She kept putting her head down on the steering wheel, then lifting it, then putting it back down. Finally, she got out, walked to my building like she was heading to her own execution, each step slow and deliberate. I let her knock 3 times before I opened the door. She looked smaller than I remembered, older. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, no makeup, eyes red and swollen. She was wearing jeans and an old sweater. My dad's sweater, actually. The gray one he used to wear every Sunday. Can I come in? She asked. Her voice was hoarse. I stepped aside without saying anything. She walked past me into my small living room and sat down on my couch without being invited, put her face in her hands. Her shoulders were shaking. We borrowed money during a financial crisis, she said. Her voice was muffled by her hands. After your dad's medical bills destroyed us. The insurance didn't cover everything. They denied half the claims. We ended up with over $200,000 in medical debt on top of the funeral costs. We were drowning, Rebecca. The house was going into foreclosure. Jason had just lost his job. We didn't know what else to do. I leaned against the wall, crossed my arms, said nothing. We planned to pay it back, she continued. We really did. But then things kept coming up. The roof started leaking so badly we had mold in the bedroom. Jason's wife had that emergency surgery. I needed that procedure on my back. We kept thinking we'd catch up next month, next quarter, next year, but we never did. And when Andrew found out, I asked quietly. She looked up. Her eyes were wet, but I didn't see regret in them. I saw fear. We told him the truth, all of it. He was angry at first, but then he understood. He said he'd give us until he got back to make it right. He made us sign that paper to keep us accountable. Said he wouldn't tell you because you didn't need that stress while he was deployed. He was trying to protect you. Protect me? I pushed off the wall. He was giving you a chance to fix your mistake before you had to face me. And you took that chance and did nothing. How much did you pay back before he died? She looked down at her hands. We were working on it. We had a plan. How much, Mom? $8,000, she whispered. We paid back $8,000. $8,000 out of $140,000 in 10 months. That's your plan? We were trying. Do you know how hard it is to bury your husband at 29? My voice finally rose. Do you know what it's like to fold a flag that was draped over someone's coffin? To stand there while they fire shots into the sky and hand you shell casings like that somehow makes it better? And then to land at the airport and ask your family for one thing, one single ride home, and get told to try Uber because you're all too busy? She flinched. We didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it, Mom? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you couldn't face me. You knew what you'd done. You knew Andrew was gone and you'd never have to pay him back. And you couldn't look me in the eye knowing that. So you avoided me, sent me a text, made me feel completely alone on the worst day of my life. She started crying, full-on sobbing into her hands. We were grieving too, Rebecca. We loved Andrew. We didn't know what to say to you. We were paralyzed. Grieving people show up anyway, I said. Guilty people send texts like that. She looked up at me with tears running down her face. What do you want from us? I want the money back. All of it. You've got 2 weeks. 2 weeks? She stood up. That's impossible. Rebecca, we don't have that kind of money. We can't just then sell something. take out a loan, max out credit cards. I don't care how you do it, but in 2 weeks, $140,000 goes back into that fund. Or every single donor, every veteran who trusted Dad's legacy, every organization that ever gave money, they all get an email with the spreadsheets, with Andrew's notes, with your signed confession, and with a screenshot of that text you sent me at the airport. I'll let them decide what they think about how you handled their donations. Rebecca, please, you weren't there, I said quietly, when I needed you. When I was standing at baggage claim holding my husband's flag trying to figure out how to get home, you sent me those words. We're busy. Try Uber. So now I'm busy too, Mom. You've got 2 weeks, starting now. She stared at me like I was a complete stranger, like she'd never seen me before in her life. Maybe she hadn't. She left without saying another word. I watched her walk to her car, sit inside for another few minutes, then drive away. I went to bed that night and slept better than I had in months. The next morning, my phone exploded. Jason had sent a message to the family group chat, the same one where he'd told me to try Uber, the one with all my cousins, aunts, uncles, family friends, about 30 people total. Hey everyone, just wanted to give you all a heads up about something. Rebecca is going through an incredibly difficult time right now, and unfortunately, she's making some accusations that aren't based in reality. She's grieving and not thinking clearly. If she reaches out to any of you about the Veteran Fund or anything related to family finances, please disregard what she says. We're handling some internal family matters, and we don't want to drag everyone into unnecessary drama. Thanks for understanding and for giving us privacy during this time. I read it 3 times. Then I opened my email. I attached the main spreadsheet showing every withdrawal with dates and amounts. I attached the text file Andrew had written. I attached screenshots of my mother and Jason's messages to Andrew where they admitted what they'd done and promised to fix it. I attached the photo of their signed confession. And I attached one more thing, a screenshot of the group chat from the airport. The message where Jason told me we were busy and I should try Uber, timestamped 3:47 p.m., right when I'd landed. I typed one sentence in the email body. You decide what's true. And I hit reply all to that same group chat. Then I turned my phone on silent and went to make coffee. By the time the coffee was ready, my phone had 47 notifications. I ignored all of them. By noon, it was up to 93. I finally looked at it around 1:00 p.m. The family group chat was absolutely exploding. People demanding explanations, asking questions. Jason had tried to defend himself with 3 long paragraphs about misunderstandings and taking numbers out of context and how grief makes people irrational. Nobody was buying it. My Aunt Karen, my dad's sister, had written, "Why weren't any of you at the airport to pick up Rebecca?" That was it. That's all it took. One question. Then my Uncle Steve. "I donated $5,000 to that fund after my buddy died. Where did my money go?" My cousin Amy. "Jason, you told me last year you were broke. How did you buy a boat?" The messages kept coming. People weren't arguing with Jason or defending him. They were just asking questions. Simple, direct questions that he couldn't answer without digging himself deeper. My mother posted once, "This is a private family matter and Rebecca is handling this very poorly and making it worse for everyone." My Uncle Dan replied, "She just buried her husband and you told her to take an Uber. Seems like she's handling it exactly right." Jason stopped responding after that. My mother didn't post again. I set my phone down and finished my coffee. On day 6, I got a bank notification on my phone. I was in the middle of the grocery store, standing in the cereal aisle trying to decide if I wanted to eat like an adult or just buy Cookie Crisp like I was 8 years old. The notification said, $35,000 deposited into Morrison Veteran Relief Fund. I stood there holding a box of Cheerios and stared at my phone screen. He'd sold the boat. I knew because earlier that morning I'd seen a post from my sister-in-law on Facebook. Some long caption about how they were downsizing and simplifying their lives and focusing on what really matters. The comments were full of people telling her how brave she was. I didn't comment, just screenshotted it for my records. That afternoon, another notification. $15,000 deposited. I checked the details. It came from my mother's personal account. The transfer note said, first payment. I pulled up my calculator app. $50,000 total, out of $140,000. I sent a text to the group chat with both of them. "That's all we have. Please stop this." I replied, "Andrew didn't get to stop. Keep going." Neither of them responded. 3 days later, my mother called. I was sitting on my couch watching some mindless reality show where people competed to make cakes that looked like actual objects. Someone had just made a cake that looked exactly like a Crocs shoe, and I was trying to figure out why anyone would want to eat that. "I can't do this," my mother said when I answered. "No hello, just desperation." "Can't do what?" "Can't come up with the rest of the money in time." "Rebecca, we're trying. We really are, but it's impossible. We've maxed out every credit card we have. Jason sold his truck yesterday for way less than it's worth because he needed cash fast. I emptied my savings account. We're completely tapped out, and we still need $90,000. Please give us more time." I was sitting with my laptop open, looking at the spreadsheet for probably the 100th time, staring at all those numbers, all that money that was supposed to help veterans and their families. "What would you have told me," I said slowly, "if I'd come to you 6 months from now as a widow who needed help from the fund and there was nothing left? What would you have said to me then?" She didn't answer. "Exactly," I said. 2 weeks means 2 weeks, Mom." She hung up on me. I went back to watching someone make a cake that looked like a bag of garbage. It was actually impressive. On day 13, my mother showed up at my door again. This time she didn't call first. Just appeared at 7:30 in the evening holding a large manila envelope. I opened the door and she handed it to me without a word. Inside were cashier's checks. I counted them. 6 total, $58,000. "This is everything I have left in the world," she said. Her voice was flat, empty. I completely emptied my retirement account this morning, took the tax penalty, all of it. Jason borrowed $12,000 from a friend and sold his truck for $23,000, even though it's worth at least $35,000. We're trying, Rebecca. We're doing everything we can. Please, please just give us a little more time for the rest. Another month, 6 weeks, something. I looked at her standing in my doorway. She was wearing the same jeans from last time. Her hair looked like she hadn't washed it in days. She'd lost weight. I could see it in her face. Her hands were shaking when she'd handed me the envelope, but I kept seeing that text message, kept seeing those words. We're busy. Try Uber. You had 3 years, I said. Andrew found out in April of 2024. He gave you until December. That was 8 months. You paid back $8,000. Now you've had 2 weeks, and somehow you've managed to come up with $108,000 total. Funny how motivation works. That's not fair. He gave you a chance. He gave you months, and you buried it with him. You literally watched them put him in the ground, knowing you'd never have to face him again. That's not true. We were planning. You weren't planning anything. You were hoping I'd never find out. I closed the door. I deposited the money the next morning. $108,000 total in the account now. I took a screenshot of the balance and sent it to both of them with one message. Remaining balance, $32,000. You have 48 hours. After that, every donor gets an email with everything. Not just family this time, everyone. Every person who ever trusted Dad's fund, every veteran organization that partnered with you, every local business that held fundraisers. I'll make sure they all know exactly why you really didn't pick me up from the airport. Jason's response came within minutes. You're a vulture. You're using your dead husband to destroy your own family. I hope you're proud of yourself. Then in the family group chat where everyone could see, just so everyone knows, Rebecca is extorting us, threatening to lie about us unless we give her money. This is financial abuse and we're considering legal action. I watched the messages pop up, waited. My Aunt Karen responded first. Jason, she sent us the receipts. We saw the spreadsheet. We saw your signatures on that confession. This isn't extortion. This is consequences. My cousin David, you took $47,000 for a boat from a veterans fund while her husband was deployed. And you're calling her the problem? My Uncle Steve. I'm requesting a refund of my donation. I'll be sending a letter to the board. After that, nobody defended Jason. The chat went quiet. My mother didn't respond at all. On day 15, the final day of the deadline, I was sitting at my kitchen table drinking tea and wondering if I'd actually have to follow through and send everything out publicly. My phone buzzed at 11:47 a.m. Bank notification. $32,000 deposited into Morrison Veteran Relief Fund. I opened the transfer details. It came from my mother's account. The note said, loan secured against primary residence. She'd taken a loan against her house, the house my father had bought in 1987, the house where I grew up, the house she'd sworn she'd never borrow against because it was the only thing Dad had left her that was fully paid off. She'd put it up as collateral to pay me back. 10 minutes later, she sent a text. It's done. The full amount is repaid. Are you happy now? I stared at that message for a long time, read it over and over, thought about everything that had led to this moment. The funeral, the flight, the texts, the photo, the spreadsheets, all of it. Finally, I typed back, no, but he would be. I didn't hear from her after that. I spent the next week pulling together all the documentation. Every spreadsheet, every email, every text message confession. I organized it into a clear timeline with a summary at the top explaining exactly what had happened, how much was taken, when it was taken, who took it, how it was repaid. Then I wrote an email to the fund's board of directors. 3 people, a retired Army colonel, a CPA who volunteered his time, and the widow of a Vietnam vet. The subject line, financial disclosure regarding Morrison Fund irregularities. The body, this money was stolen and has been returned. The donors deserve to know. I attached everything, the full paper trail, every piece of evidence, the signed confession, even the text message from the airport, because that showed motive, showed why they'd avoided me, showed consciousness of guilt. I hit send at 11:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. Then I logged into the fund's account and initiated a donation, $140,000, anonymous donor. Designation, Gold Star Families Support, specifically for widows and children of fallen service members. In the memo line I wrote, in memory of Captain Andrew Morrison. He believed in second chances, but not third ones. The transaction processed. The money was back where it belonged. I sat back in my chair and felt something release in my chest, something I'd been holding tight since the funeral. The next morning I started packing. I didn't have much, really. Most of our furniture had been in storage while Andrew was deployed. We'd been planning to figure out where to settle down when he got back, look at jobs, pick a city, start over somewhere new together. Now I was just doing it alone. I packed everything I owned into my car over 3 days. Clothes, books, kitchen stuff, photos, his laptop, the flag from his funeral. All of it fit in a Honda Accord with room to spare. Turns out a whole life doesn't take up that much space. I gave notice on my apartment. 1 month, paid in full, no forwarding address. I blocked every family number in my phone. Jason, my mother, my sister-in-law, even the cousins who'd stayed silent through all of it, the ones who'd seen the evidence and just never said anything, didn't pick a side, didn't reach out. I didn't need an explanation from them, didn't need closure or apologies or uncomfortable conversations where everyone pretends we can go back to normal. I just needed distance. On a cold morning in late March, I loaded the last box into my car, took one more walk through the empty apartment, checked all the cabinets and closets one final time, Then I got in my car and drove. Didn't tell anyone where I was going, didn't post about it, didn't send a goodbye message, just left. I drove west for 3 days, stopped at cheap motels, ate gas station food, listened to podcasts about people whose lives were more messed up than mine. Eventually, I ended up in a small town I'd never heard of before. The kind of place with one main street and a diner that's been there since 1952, and everybody knows everybody except they don't know you. I rented an apartment over a hardware store, got a job at a hospital doing administrative work. Nothing glamorous, just answering phones and filing paperwork, and helping people who actually needed help. Started over, completely.